Hi, welcome to 2020 Tasty Treats with GourmetQuilter. We're having a whole lot of fun with a series of applique houses. As you can see behind me, we have this village developing beautifully here. And so what we've got is 20 houses altogether in the village, and we are up to house number 15 at the moment. So there's a pattern available through gourmetquilter.com if you're interested. All the shapes come ready for tracing. We're doing, or I'm doing fused draw edge applique, and other than that, let's get on with house number 15. So we're doing one a day for 20 days with a video and pattern each day. We're on day 15. So I've already started positioning the house. We've kind of seen me position walls and windows and doors and roofs and things before, but this particular house has got some very pretty little planter boxes on it. So it has little window panes to mark on the windows. So I've just used a pencil and I've just done a little marker where those lines will go, so that when I'm outlining around, I know where to start stitching the little window panes. And then we need to pop the little planters on as well, and that they just sit over the lower part of this window here, of each of these two upstairs windows. And then they've got a little bit of plant actually growing in them. Quite amazing, really. I was thinking if I had window boxes, I probably would find I'd run into trouble, because I'm really not a gardener. But some little bit of greenery coming out of there is really nice, and there's one on each window. So this one really does go down before the planter, and so that's growing out of it there. Make sure that they're sitting as level as possible. Generally would be fairly level. And as well as all that, they've got a little, they're flowering, these little planters. So there's just a little red flower to pop in there somewhere, just to make it a little bit interesting. It doesn't have to be in the same position on both sides. So I think we're ready to iron everything in place now. We've got a door, we've got a windows, we've got everything going for a house. Very pretty, this little house. Oh, this big house, really. Quite a large house. Pretty colours. So I'm just using a cotton batting as my stabiliser. I'm going to free motion stitch now that everything's fused in place. So I think I will do the windows with the little window boxes after I've done the main part of the applique. So I'm going to start and get all the outlining done of everything first, and even the windows will need to be outlined, but they've got their window panes so that we can do all this on top. So I'm just going to start up here and go around the outside of the house. I'll do the house, the door and the roof, and then I can come back in and do the downstairs windows, and then we'll get on to those pretty ones with the window boxes going on. So I'll just keep doing a little bit of this first. Come up around the door at this stage. Now, if you think the door's a little bit plain, you could embellish it, you could give it a doorknob. In fact, we could give it some little, it might be perhaps a timber door, and it might just have a few little panels of timber coming up, just to make it perhaps a little bit more interesting, although it's already a very interesting house because it has delicious window boxes. And so now I can just keep going on around the house and around the outside of the roof, and then do these windows before we get on to the window boxes. So I'll go ahead and do some more of this and show you a bit later on. So I've gone ahead and done one of the windows and boxes, but I thought I'd show you how I'm doing this one. So I've got a little marker here to come down and do that centre line on the window. So I'm just going to come all the way down here. And then I'll turn around and come all the way back up again on the same line. And continue on round with the window until I see the next marker. I always like to just go past the marker if possible, because it's easier to come back to something that's continuing on than to sort of stop and make it happen that way. So I'll come across and do this line across the window here, and then I can finish the window itself, and then we can just skip straight onto this little bit of greenery here. So I'm just going to do that first leaf and come back over it so that I can then go all the way along. And just take your time with something fiddly like this, but you can do it and stitch quite close to that edge. When you're going slower, the chances are your stitches when you're free motioning will be smaller, because you're thinking, and apparently thinking slows us down here. And so then here somewhere you can skip onto this little flower and just go around it. It is all quite tiny, but if you just take your time, you can just do it. And then I just like to do a little centre circle in the flower, and then I can come back onto that little bit of greenery there and finish that off. And then we can skip straight onto this little planter box. And we are done. So I think that's looking pretty good actually, with the little windows, with something growing in the boxes. And I think this little house definitely deserves to be in our village. Quite beautiful. People obviously that live here obviously like to take care with their home, have the little plants growing, have it looking amazingly nice. So that was house applique number 15 out of our 20. So I will come back and show you house applique number 16.